Primary night in Tennessee, we've got some breaking news. Congressman Andy Ogles, a Trump-endorsed incumbent and member of the House Freedom Caucus, has lost his primary to someone named Charlie Hatcher, the former state agriculture commissioner who was endorsed by the outgoing governor of the state. This marks the fifth congressional Republican, 3 in the House and 2 in the Senate, who have lost their primaries. He's also the second Trump-endorsed candidate to lose their primary this week, though a majority of his endorsements or Trump's endorsements have won their primaries. This was also the first time since voters in Tennessee went to the polls since Republicans redrew the state's congressional districts to eliminate its only majority black district. Court challenges failed to stop the map before the primary after the Supreme Court weakened the Voting Rights Act in a decision that it handed down in April. The map shows which party each district voted for in 2004. The most notable change is this. District 9, the only blue district on both of these maps. It comprises most of Memphis and its suburbs and has been held by Democrats since 1980. But GOP lawmakers in the state assembly redrew the 9th district. It's now here in an attempt to gain a seat for Republicans. Now, within the 9th previous lines, Kamala Harris won the district by a margin of 43 points. Within the new lines, voters would have swung to Donald Trump by a margin of 21 points. Tennessee Republicans accomplished this, by the way, by doing something called cracking Shelby County. That's gerrymandering speak for breaking up a big population that generally votes one way into various separate districts. Home to Shelby County, which is home to Memphis, is over 50% black. It used to basically make up its own district, but in the new county, or in the new map, Shelby County has been cut into 3 congressional districts, diluting the power of that black voting base. While Republicans are expected to pick this seat up in the fall, that hasn't stopped Democrats from competing in a spirited primary race. The AP has reported that the state representative Justin Pearson, our next guest, has won that primary. He's one of the Tennessee 3 lawmakers who gained national attention after being expelled from the state house in 2023 for leading a protest on the chamber floor against gun violence. He was later reinstated and is now the Democratic nominee for the 9th district. He defeated the state senator London Lamar, who had the endorsement of Congressman Steve Cohen, the outgoing congressman from that district. He's been in that position since 2007. Steve Cohen announced his retirement when lawmakers redrew the district lines. Joining me now is Justin Pearson. He's a Tennessee state representative. He's the Democratic candidate for Congress in Tennessee's 9th district, and he is the projected winner of today's primary race. Congratulations on your victory tonight.
Hey, thanks so much. All glory be to God.
How are you feeling about it?
I feel amazing, truly. This movement is growing. People are fired up, and we understand that even though the odds seem long, they are not impossible. And what is happening in Tennessee in the 15 counties that I've been traveling up and down since the new districts were drawn is that people are tired of the billionaire class profiting off of the pain of the working class. People want to see an increase in their wages, a decrease in their costs, expanding access to health care, and a stop and an end to all these toxic data centers. And that's across the spectrum for Republicans, Democrats, and independents. And so now what we need are investments in the South financially and people power.
So I want to talk to you about the data centers and the topics that you're interested in. I always like having you on here because we have these discussions. But I have to ask you the obvious question first. This district that you just won the nomination in was specifically redistricted so that guy like you couldn't win. Or a Democrat couldn't win. Talk to me about that. You've gone from a relatively steady job that you've had for the last few years into something that looks remarkably uncertain. Give me your thought process on this.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they changed the rules in the middle of the game because they know they can't win without cheating. They're trying to cheat to steal a congressional seat because their ideas are old. People don't want the culture wars of old. They understand all of the positions that they're holding of yesteryear actually are detrimental to our lives right here and right now. First, they were against endless wars, and now they're supporting endless wars that's increasing grocery and gas prices. First, they were pro states' rights and local control, but now if the president tells them to jump, they say how high, right? They're unprincipled people who are calling themselves public servants while really only serving their own interest, buying and trading stocks and things like that, becoming multimillionaires while their districts get poorer. That isn't what people in Tennessee want anymore. And so, again, they drew it to try and stop us, but really they fired up more people than we could have ever imagined. We saw historic increases in turnout in early voting. We saw historic increases in turnout today in the primary across all 15 counties. And I think that's only going to grow grow, as we get more volunteers, as we get more people investing, and as we get more people seeing that the South is a place that deserves and needs investment, it isn't a place that needs to be overlooked. We can't bow down to white supremacy and to racism and to racist maps drawn after the Cali decision. We have to say the vision we want for Tennessee and for our country is worth everything that we've got. And that's why I'm running, and that's why our team is excited, and our movement is growing.
We have seen this in both southern states and heavily Republican states, that enthusiasm as measured by primary turnout amongst Democratic voters is remarkable. In some cases, getting up toward, in Michigan, I think it was almost up toward presidential primary level. And people are very, very, as you say, fired up.
I mean, we literally in Shelby County, let's just say the county where I'm from, we haven't had this significant an increase in turnout since 2010. Wow. That was the last time numbers were this high. And so there's a lot of energy in the wake of, honestly, the Cali decision, and in the wake of just the reality that the president has created his own murderous task force in our city that's killed 4 Black men. The ICE agents are separating families and communities, and people do not want to live in a country where everything is to the benefit of those at the top and everything else hurts the rest of us working class people. And I think the reality that is setting in for a lot of folks in Tennessee is that we have to go in a different direction. And that's taking people to the polls in ways that they have not been before. And it is our opportunity over the next 89 days to capitalize on that passion and on that energy and on that vision, not of a division, which is what the other side is going to be offering.
I was talking to the candidate who won the Democratic gubernatorial race primary in Kansas yesterday, and we've been talking about data centers. This, as you said, this seems to capture the imagination across the political spectrum. Tell me why that is, because clearly there is some benefit to us, and we will all benefit one day from the things that AI will be able to do that we can't do as humankind. But somehow people feel they're getting dealt a raw deal by these data centers that the federal government refuses to regulate and seem to be run by a whole bunch of rich people who can manage to get things done the way they want it done.
Exactly. I think what data centers present is just the truth about our country, that billionaires are able to run over everyday people because they have access to power and resources that we do not. In Memphis and Shelby County, Elon Musk is killing our community with 69 illegal gas turbines right now in violation of the Clean Air Act and the EPA's own regulations. And yet the Department of Justice has tried to enter into a lawsuit saying that we need to allow them to keep killing our community so that they can kill people in Iran with Grok, the technology that's used by Elon Musk. You nor I or regular folks are able to do that. And when our water, millions of gallons of our water are being used, our air is being polluted, we know that billionaires are the ones who are benefiting and we are suffering. And that's what's uniting us all across the country.
So obviously you speak the language of somebody who has inherited the fight of the civil rights, right? The idea that there is a rollback that is going on across this United States and across the South back to the days before the Civil Rights Act. On the other hand, you've identified a whole bunch of issues, affordability, the war in Iraq, the handling of the economy, AI centers, that would have cross-party appeal. Is that going to be of any use to you? Do you think that there are independents, for instance, who voted Republican in the last election who may cast a ballot for you because you're talking about the issues that you believe they care about?
Absolutely. I care about the issues that they care about because I'm one of them. I live 3 miles away from Elon Musk's first data center, Colossus, that used 35 illegal gas turbines polluting the air my wife and I breathe, and my parents in 38109, that my constituents breathe in House District 86 in the Tennessee House of Representatives. I'm able to speak about these things because they're impacting my neighbors, not just my constituents, and they're both. And I think that is going to have an appeal to a lot of independents. And honestly, we've had Republicans at every event that I've had across the 15 counties in Tennessee of this new district. And we've had at least one Republican at each one of those who said they're supporting us and who likely voted for us in this primary, and who'll be doing it in the general. I think we have to keep the issues. People want clean air, clean water, clean soil. They want health care and access to medical care, particularly when 16 rural hospitals have closed in the state of Tennessee. They want better jobs and more opportunities. And it's the responsibility of government to deliver those. But too often government has been focused on making the people who are in elected office richer, or the corruption of making these corporations and billionaires richer, and not focused on people. And we're going to have a people-centered, people-powered campaign, and that's how we're going to win.
You've commented on the fact that culture wars that you think Donald Trump and Republicans are engaging in don't work when people are struggling. I mean, they work if people are economically fine. But right now, people have really basic questions. In fact, a lot of people voted for Republicans and Donald Trump on a promise that somehow they would create greater affordability and lower inflation than preceded them. Didn't happen.
That's right. I mean, they know they've been lied to. And the reality is, it's really clear, actually, in the case of data centers, that they've been lied to for the benefit of a small group of people, the 18 billionaires who went to China, right, in order to start making more deals and cutting more deals. Like, people are really clear that this war in Iran has nothing to do with the American people or the service members or our country's success or our future. They know that the president of the United States' children are profiting off of drone technology, and that people and warmongers are profiting because they have stocks and investments in that. And so I think the truth is being revealed about how unfair and unjust our economy and our country has become, and unjust our politics have become with the Republican establishment and the Democratic establishment. And it's our job to just tell the truth. And that's what our campaign is focused on. We're going to tell the truth. We're not going to be distracted by all the other things they're going to say. They'll say Marxist and socialist and radical and extremist. And as I will tell folks, I say the only question you have to ask is, are they saying anything out of their mouths that's going to lower your costs, increase your wages, ensure you have access to healthcare, and stop these toxic data centers? If not, they don't deserve your vote. And we need to be disciplined and focused on that message, because that's what the American people, Tennesseans, and folks in District 9 want from us. And that's what I hope to be able to deliver for them when we get to Congress in January.